Hey, this is Anthony from Rockin Printz, and today we are doing our chat one-on-one side hustles, okay? And the purpose of this video is to help you if you're sitting inside the back fences and you're trying to think about how to start side business, side hustle, or you're thinking about taking on a bigger scale and becoming an entrepreneur, and you're thinking about quitting your 9-to-5 job, and what it takes, what drive it takes, okay? Or you just need that little push to hear some type of background, what it takes. That's what we're here for. We're here to talk about those one-on-one to help you build the confidence that you need, that help you push yourself to get where you're going, okay? So with that, it is a hard decision to make, right? Because if you're like me, you're working your 9-to-5 job and you're coming home and you're probably frustrated. You're probably frustrated at your job, or you've always had this desire, this dream to do something on your own. That is me. All right. I've had that desire since I was a little kid. I've had this desire to do things on my own. Okay. And you know what? I finally pursued it in the late years of my life. There's really no time for you to start anything. It's all up to you. It's up to you how you want to do this, when you want to do this. And the only thing that's preventing you from doing it is, when do I do it? And that's where we come in. That's where I come in to help you push yourself to get you where you need to go. Because really, honestly, there ain't no right answer. It all falls on you. You are the answer. You're the right answer. You quit waiting for people to tell you when to do it. Stop waiting for them to tell you when to do it. You are the answer. Okay, so let's go back to my story. Chat 101 side hustles. And if you didn't hear my last video, check out my last video. I'll leave the link below. And it's a kickoff how I started my entrepreneurship and all the little fun details and the struggles that I went with in the very, very beginning of my life with my new entrepreneur business. All right, so just to make a long story short, where I was at a mall, and I was looking at this guy make gobs of money in a short amount of time, and he was making me a sweater and a Jack Daniel's design on a sweater, and I saw the potential and I saw the money he was making. I was saying to myself, I want to do that. That looks simple. I want to do that. I know I can do something like that. Okay, well, fast forward until now. I ended up buying the heat press, and things weren't the way I thought it was going to be. It wasn't that easy as I thought it was going to be. I thought I was just going to be pressing vinyl transfers onto t-shirts, and I'm like, here guy, here guy, here guy, here guy, here guy, money, 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 money. I thought that's what it was going to be, and it wasn't. All right. I didn't know that when you bought transfers, heat transfers with images on them, I didn't know some heat transfers required certain pressures, certain heat temperatures. I didn't know that certain heat transfers were a hot pill versus a cold pill. Okay, so all of this stuff came to play as soon as I bought the heat press. But I would have never known those things had I not did it, right? And so going back to that, when I bought all those heat transfers, I also learned that what I like doesn't mean everybody else likes it. I like skulls. I don't know why. I just have this thing about, race cars and skulls. I like stuff like that. And I like that stuff. And you know what? A lot of people don't really care for that. So they don't like it, so but there is people that do like it, but the people that I was selling at the time, nah, that wasn't their thing, so I realized I had a big problem. Okay, just because something I liked doesn't mean that everybody else is going to like it. I learned that. That was a hard lesson for me to learn. So during that whole time, I was like, okay, this ain't going to work, because the website that I'm buying these transfers on, these heat transfers, they only have a certain amount of images. And so far, the images that I'm looking at, I don't think, I've told my family, hey, pick transfers on this website and I'll put it on a t-shirt for you. And I saw my family looking at this website, and they're looking and going through the stuff, and they're like, nah. They didn't really care for them. So I knew it wasn't their thing. So I had bought this cutter, and I didn't know how to use it, and I wasn't trying to. I bought the Expert 2 cutter that was part of that that whole thing that I saw at the mall, right? And I had that. That cost $700. Okay, and after I paid off the heat press, I went back to a firm and I paid for that. Okay, and that was expensive, and I was still making payments. And then I had bought that, and then I realized I had to buy the software for this freaking thing. Okay, I saw that now I need to learn how to take images and then transfer those images to the cutter. So I learned a lot of things from just that. I learned about, well, I always knew what a JPEG was. I knew a JPEG was, you take a picture, you put it on the computer, it becomes a JPEG, JPEG, right? But I didn't know what a PNG file was, and I didn't know what an SVG file was. Okay, I didn't know what these files were. So until I started digging into this, because I started thinking, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get this thing to print? And then I want to say, at that time, I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out how to turn how to transfer a PNG file, a JPEG file, transfer it to the cutter to get the thing to cut. I didn't know how to put in the vinyl into the machine, even though I was watching everybody. I didn't know that it had to be laid out in a certain way. And every time I thought I got it right, I pressed print, it wouldn't print. So honestly, I gave up. I gave up for like 3 months. And I just kept watching videos every once in a while. Just started doing my own thing. The heat press was collecting dust. And I was just something that I had in a room, hoping one day it was going to work for me again. But just thinking about the whole thing, it is weird, but it does make sense. So that whole time, I still had that desire to do things right, and I was watching hours and hours of videos, and I could never find the video that was going to connect me to the printer and the software. I couldn't find that specific video, what I was looking for. I searched around and tried to type in everything I could type in, and I could not find it. Well, lo and behold, one day, 3 months later, out of the blue, I was just sitting there, just flipping through YouTube channels, and I saw this guy. And he had the question that I needed answered. And he showed me, he walked me through the same printer I had and how to print. That set me up, right? And that set me up from my sofa, and I was really engaged. And then I just remember I had a laptop, took the laptop to the printer, in the other room. And I just started following that guy. Started following him, and man, that thing started to print. It started to cut, and I was like so excited because I couldn't believe what just happened. And I printed something for the first time, and I think it was my name. I printed Tony, and it was so exciting, and I got to pill it. off the carrier sheet. I peeled that vinyl off the carrier sheet. And that was the best feeling in the world, just to see me peeling it, how the peeling works, the whole part of the peeling, how it worked. And then I'm holding the carrier sheet. I took off to the living room and I showed my kids, and I showed them, and they were like, wow, that looks cool. And then, you know what, after that, I felt just, so happy. And I was like, man, now it's game on. It's game on. So I went to work and I was telling everybody what I had did. And this girl came up to me and she told me, hey, Tony, can you make this image for me? And she showed me a picture on her phone, and it was like a yin and yang. And she had her daughter's name on there. And she had, just, it was something personal to her. And I said, yeah, I can do that. I was like, yeah, I can do that. And knowing that I didn't know how to do it, but I said yes anyways, because that was my first challenge, right? So I went back home and I was like, man, now I got to take this picture. I got to put it on CorelDRAW, which that was the software I had bought. And I got to take that and transfer it to the machine. Now, I did it with my name, but I typed in my name on that software. But now I got to take an actual image, put the image on the computer, and send it off to the printer. How do I do that? Well, and then the other challenge was the vinyl was black and white, and they were separate images. So I was like, how do I put these two different images onto one carrier sheet? How do I do that? So I didn't know how to do it. So what I ended up doing was making two designs and then peeling one off and then carefully trying to put them together. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. Okay. And that was my first sale. Okay. I did it. It was, wasn't the best decal in the world, but I did it. And I went back to work and I gave it to her. Like, I did the whole thing and put it on the other carrier sheet and made it into like a decal, like you go buy at the stores. And she took it home. She put it on her car, and she told me thank you. And she gave me $5. That was sale number one. I made $5. Okay. Well, word got around that I was doing window decals. And everybody wanted window decals, okay? So I was selling them for $5. Man, I made like $30 in 5 minutes, and then that's when I realized the potential of the machine, of the heat press, of the printer. And I was like, dude, if I can make $30 in 5 minutes, this thing, what else could this thing do? And then after that, it was game on. It was game on. I was so excited. I was like, man, I could do this. I can do that. I could do this. I was just thinking in my head, man, what else could I do? And that was the funnest thing in the world, was just solving a problem. Solving a problem, giving up, making a rebound. My question was answered later on. This was divine entity, giving me an answer that I wanted. And I really believe that if you're hungry for something that bad, it will come to you, because it came to me 3 months down the road, but it came to me. I know I was looking and looking and looking, but on that particular day, I wasn't looking. It just stumbled. It just came. Here's your answer. And I really believe that this connection is real. Okay. So after that, I started making money. And it wasn't a whole lot of money, but I was making money, and it was fun because it was something. I just remember I was at work, and I was making money in work. So I was making a paycheck at work, but I was also making money in work, if you follow me. I had another business, and everybody else is working for their hours. And here I was hustling money on the side, making money because I had something to provide for people. That was so exciting. And still to this day, it is so exciting. Okay? Because I know that when my family comes home, they're doing their regular routine. I'm making money. I'm making money. This money has paid my bills. This money has got me out of jams. This money has given us vacations. This money has helped me do a lot of things because I taught myself how to do this. I just one day said, I'm going to cross this line, and I crossed it. And now here I am. I'm led into other things. I had no idea I was going to start a YouTube channel. I'm doing a YouTube channel. I had no idea I was going to have a website. I have a website now. I had no idea I was going to have other social medias that connect to my channel. I didn't know I was going to have customers, but I have customers. I didn't know I was going to get these other machines addition to the machines that I had. I had all this stuff, and I have it all now because I crossed that line. And that's where you come in. So if you're sitting in the back fences and you have that inner desire and you want to do something for yourself, what are you waiting for? Because the more you sit there and wait, it's not going to happen. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen for you. What you need to do is you have to cross that line to make it happen. Now, don't go crazy and blow a bunch of money that you don't have. Okay? But if you do have some money, or you do have a way of getting it, and you know how you think you can pay it back, that's the decision that you need to make. I will tell you, go for it. Do it. Because you got one shot, right? Do it. And I guarantee you, you're going to learn something from that one decision that you make. You're either going to fall down on your face, or you're going to rebound, and it's going to take you to different heights. Okay? So that is the realization of this whole thing. Okay? So don't be scared. I had $400. I didn't tell my family that I was going to blow this money on a heat press. They probably would have told me, no, don't do it. But I know if I would have taken that money, I would have taken my family out to eat. I would have bought me some junk, and I would have blown that money on nothing, because back then I just spent the money. I just spent it. Wherever I went, I spent it. Didn't even save it. Didn't even put it in stocks or anything. I just blew it. But that one time, I decided to do something beneficial, and I had no idea it was going to open up this. And now I'm on a mission to become that millionaire that I want to be. Okay? And that's my goal. It doesn't have to be your goal. Your goal, if you just want to pursue whatever you want to pursue, and you just need this push, or you need to hear this talk, and if that's you, this is what you need to do. You have to get bold. You have to get that confidence to say, I am going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then once you do it, I guarantee you, you will be in a different world that you're not going to want to go back to. Okay? So I hope this story resonates with you, and it helps you think about it even closer and help you make that decision to say, I'm going to do it. All right? I have faith in you, and I know you can do this, because if I can do it, you can do it. All right. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys back on my next video next week. And my next video this week is me actually doing some embroidery. Okay. We're going to be doing some designing on my embroidery software, and then I'm actually going to embroider something. Okay. And and if you did like this video, or you do have any comments, feel free to shoot me a comment. I would love to hear your feedback. And if you do have questions, ask me those questions. I would love to answer those questions. Okay. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys back on my next video. Peace.